All right, up next is the tibia, and this is what it looks like. This is the anterior side of the tibia. The top of the tibia is kind of weird. It's pretty flat. Look at that. So the tibia is the primary bone in your lower leg. It's going to articulate with the fibula that runs here on the lateral side. And we'll show you that in just a minute. But the tibia is the main bone that strengthens your lower leg. And if you've ever been kicked in the shin, you know that hurt really bad, and that's because this part of the tibia is right next to the skin. There's subcutaneous tissue, and then there's the tibia. The markings on the tibia that you need to know. On the front, there is a bump called the tibial tuberosity, and none of these pictures show it very well. It's really obvious on a real tibia. That is where the patellar ligament inserts. So all of the muscles in the quadriceps group, all four of those muscles are going to insert in one tendon that encapsulates and covers the patella and then inserts here on that tibial tuberosity. So that's a pretty good marking on every tibia. The back of the tibia has a little facet called the fibular articular facet, and that is where the fibula, the proximal part of the fibula, articulates. Down at the distal end, we have this little hooked process called the medial malleolus. This is the thing that makes the big bump on the medial side of your ankle. Okay, that thing you think of as your ankle bone, that is actually the medial malleolus of the tibia. If we have a medial something, we have a lateral something. But the tibia doesn't have a lateral malleolus. The lateral malleolus is on the fibula. The tibia does have on the lateral side a fibular notch that the distal end of the fibula fits in. Okay, the other thing that people mistake about the tibia and the fibula, notice the spelling tibia, T-I-B-I-A. The other bone is the fibula. Where is it? There it is, fibula. Okay, people tend to say fibia. Tibia, fibula. Okay, if you need to say it like that so you spell it correctly, do that. Tibia, fibula. All right, so here is a tibia from the lateral side. Here's the tibial tuberosity on the front. Notice the top is fairly flat. Notice that the front has this tuberosity and the back kind of has this overhanging crest. Okay, that's the other way you can tell the front from the back on the tibia. Then we have the fibular notch here, the medial malleolus. There is an anterior crest down the front. It is a little bit sharp. Not sharp, but it's definitely a pointed crest. And then on the lateral and posterior side, there is the interosseous crest. That is where the interosseous membrane between the tibia and the fibula attaches. And that's going to hold the tibia and the fibula together. Now, when we look at the proximal end of the tibia, we see a medial condyle and a lateral condyle and the intercondylar eminence between them. This intercondylar eminence is going to fit into the intercondylar fossa between the condyles on the femur. And if you're like me, you're looking at these condyles and thinking, these do not look like condyles. Those look like facets at most, maybe fossa. They're not like, condyles are usually rounded convexly like this. These are actually considered condyles, even though they're fairly flat. And we'll talk when we get to the articulations chapter next about how this fits together, but there is a ring of cartilage called the menisci, the medial and lateral meniscus, that sit here on these condyles and provide a little round surface for the condyles of the femur to sort of sit in. Okay, and then the fibula nestles up against the posterior lateral surface of the tibia up against that fibular articular surface facet. All right, this is what the fibula looks like. One end is sort of shorter, the other is more pointy. The distal end has the lateral malleolus. Okay, that's what that is. This is the proximal end. It does have an interosseous crest where the interosseous membrane sits. Were we in a real class, I would not even ask you to figure out which is the end, because for most of the bones we have in the classroom, they look exactly the same. It's really hard to tell which is which. The proximal end does have a little facet where it articulates with the tibia. Now, if you want to click on this, it's a video of someone breaking their leg during a baseball game, but you can watch that on your own time. Okay. The tibia and the fibula are held together with an interosseous membrane, just like the radius and the ulna. And again, this is how they articulate together. And then down at the distal end, the tibia has the medial malleolus, the fibula has the lateral malleolus. The bottom of the tibia, the inferior surface of the tibia, is an articular surface where it's going to articulate with the topmost of the tarsal bones, which are the ankle bones. They are the similar to the carpal bones in the wrist. This is what it looks like if you break both the tibia and the fibula, which is actually kind of hard to do, and I don't recommend. Anyway, you can see that both of these bones did pretty complex breaks. This is someone who, I think during a soccer game, was kicked from the side. I think that's what that is. And interestingly, because the tibia is really the bone that supports you and that holds most of your weight, and the fibula just kind of comes along for the ride. When they fixed this, they put a pin in the tibia and just left the fibula. They didn't actually brace the fibula at all. They put a walking cast on this person and just let the fibula heal on its own. So there you go. Okay, so this is looking at the top of the tibia looking down. So we have the medial condyle, the lateral condyle, the intercondylar eminence, and then you can see that nice tibial tuberosity there. And this is how the knee joint fits together. So there's the femur with the medial condyle, the lateral condyle, the patella sitting on that smooth patellar surface. The medial condyles of the tibia and femur go together. The lateral condyles go together. And then the fibula is not actually part of the knee joint. It doesn't articulate here. It articulates down here. Okay? For those of you who are wondering, why is there so much space between the femur and the tibia? It's because there are those menisci taking up space and making something for the femur to sit in, and a lot of ligaments and tendons holding all of this together that take up some of that space. So this is what the knee joint looks like from some other angles. From the back, you can see this really clear intercondylar eminence with the, fossa and with the eminence in it, all fit together like that. And then this is what it looks like from the side. And you can see how the patella just kind of floats here on the front of the femur. And as you bend the knee, the patella then stays in this position and moves against the femur. This is what my knee looks like, and that's a little extra sesamoid bone in my knee, which I didn't know was there until I got this to find out if I had arthritis in my knee. I don't, yay. Anyway, so it turns out I have an extra bone. All right, let's stop there, and in the next one we'll go over the tarsal bones and the bones of the feet.